I was able to check out the film The Thing with Feathers, starring Benedict Cumberbatch. This film is directed by Dylan Southern, and it follows this family. Benedict Cumberbatch is dad to his two young sons, and they have just lost their mother. He has just lost his wife, and the whole family is kind of going through the terrible traumatic event of losing their loved one. Dad is just struggling. He is trying to figure out how to handle life with his two young boys. He is going through the 5 stages of grief, and his two young sons are also having such a hard time understanding what is going on and going through this trauma. And as they are just going through this incredibly difficult time, they are visited by a very unwanted house guest that's named Crow. Their grief and their despair has been materialized into this crow-type creature that starts visiting them frequently. And the entire family is kind of on this journey to understand who Crow is, how to get rid of him, and how to move on with their life after such an incredibly terrible event. This film is based on the book by Max Porter. This was such an interesting story. I really enjoyed how the Crow character was this allegory for grief in their lives. The Crow figure itself is really haunting. It's very disturbing. Parts of this film really feel like a horror movie at times because it feels very claustrophobic, and you're just really frightened for the characters in the film going through this terrible event while also trying to figure out like what is going on. I thought Benedict Cumberbatch did a wonderful job in this role. He put a lot of himself into this movie. I felt like this film was really experimental in the way they approached certain things, certain topics. The visuals were very interesting. His performance, and along with the two young boys, they did a phenomenal job. I mean, to be honest, this film is kind of hard to watch because it deals with such a heavy subject. I think it can also help someone that has gone through something similar because we've all dealt with loss in some form or another. We're all very familiar with that grief and that hurt and that pain. So I think this film does a really good job showcasing what that grief and pain can kind of symbolize in your mind. If you want to watch The Thing with Feathers, it comes out into theaters on Black Friday. I think this is a good film with some very interesting visuals.